All right, we're here with ESPN Stephania Bell. You just finished hosting a panel on what's next for fantasy sports, and you've carved out a very nice niche of a injury reporter who actually has a medical professional background. When did the light bulb go off with you that fantasy sports may be something you might apply your talents to?
Probably when I was playing fantasy sports. I played fantasy football for a number of years, and it was all the people coming to me asking me for advice and saying, you know, this guy, he has this on the injury report, like ankle. But what does that injury really mean? And when people started asking me for my background to get advice and insight into what the injuries really meant, I thought, there's a market for this. I can turn it into something.
And one of the questions in the panel talked about how fantasy sports are actually helping with education and even higher education. What are some of the applications you're seeing professors use and even elementary teachers use?
Well, probably the most obvious, the one that I hear about the most, are teachers using it in anatomy and physiology and kinesiology classes, because they're trying to teach medicine, and sometimes it can be routine and a little bit boring and dry, and so they're integrating fantasy sports and using case studies of injured players getting back to the field, and that application is apparently pretty popular in the classroom.
And there were quite a few women here in the crowd, and you're actually, obviously a female hosting this panel.
Yes, I am.
What can fantasy sites do to encourage more women to join up in even bigger numbers?
You know, that's something that a lot of us are constantly asking, because we want to continue to grow that demographic. And I actually got together as part of an ESPNW event earlier this fall, and we were talking to women who are interested in sports, and they like the community aspect, which is just same as the men, the competition and the community. They like being involved. So I think just embracing all the different users, not just targeting the traditional demographic, but opening it up to everyone, making everybody feel comfortable, and not necessarily altering the way we instruct people on how to play fantasy football. You know, we need to be mindful of not trying to make it overly simplistic. You know, women are smart. Just give them the information about what's involved in playing. They'll research it. And in fact, many women I talked to were challenged by male coworkers, for example, to join a league who thought they might be easy to get a victory over. It turns out, once they got into it, they studied, they end up winning.